The saddest thing about life is not death. It's to get to the end and realize you never truly lived. You didn't burn through the flame of your calling. You didn't shape your days with intention. You didn't follow the fire, you just stared at the smoke. This world is full of people buried with dreams still inside them. Books unwritten, ideas unspoken, businesses unbuilt, impact unmade. Not because they were lazy, but because they were waiting for permission, waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign louder than their excuses. And they had potential, so much of it. You could feel it in their words, in their spirit, in their dreams whispered late at night. But they never lived with purpose. So they died with it all, still trapped inside. Don't let that be you, because life is not about potential. Potential is nothing without direction. Potential without purpose is just wasted genius in disguise. Purpose is the great activator. It is the force that gives every action meaning, every day structure, every breath weight. You don't find purpose. You choose it. You commit to it. You craft it out of who you are and who you refuse to die without becoming. Purpose starts in the mind. It begins with the decision to live your life as if it actually matters. Because the truth is this: you will either live on default or live on design. And default is cheap. It costs you everything. It's waking up and drifting through routines built by other people. It's chasing safety, chasing salary, chasing what's expected. It's mistaking motion for meaning and busyness for bravery. But design, that takes courage. It takes ownership. It takes the radical decision to say, I will no longer rent my life to the opinions of others. Design means you sit down, look yourself in the eye, and define what matters. Define who you are. Define what you stand for and what you will no longer tolerate. From that clarity comes belief. Belief that you're not here by accident. Belief that your life is the message. Belief that playing small doesn't protect you, it imprisons you. You were not given breath to blend in. You were not born just to pay bills and scroll away your brilliance. You were not meant to live half awake and call that survival. You were built to burn with focus, with fire, with purpose. And purpose requires discipline because the world will try to distract you. Every single day, it will hand you someone else's schedule, someone else's emergency, someone else's dream. And if you don't have discipline, you will fall into their plan. And trust me, their plan for you is never as big as the one you could build yourself. Discipline is the daily contract you sign with your highest self. It's what says, I'm not here for comfort. I'm here for contribution. It's what pulls you out of bed when the mood fades. It's what guides your actions when no one's watching. Because purpose without structure becomes noise. And you're not here to make noise. You're here to make impact. Discipline anchors that impact into action. And action real, repeated, refined action becomes the echo of your character. It says more than your words ever could. It speaks for you when you're tired. It builds a body of work that doesn't beg to be seen. It demands to be respected. But even as you act, you must stay grateful. Gratitude doesn't make you soft. It makes you solid. It reminds you that you've already survived 100% of your worst days. It sharpens your awareness, so you stop chasing what others have and start recognizing what's already in your hands. Because your purpose isn't hiding in some distant destination. It's buried beneath the noise. It's waiting in the silence. It's standing right in front of you, disguised as the thing you keep telling yourself you're not ready for. But you are. You've always been. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to rise, willing to build, willing to become. This is what separates those who live on fire from those who die full of dreams. The ones who don't wait to feel ready. The ones who move anyway. The ones who wake up with a vow in their chest that says, I will not let my life expire unused, because potential is a beautiful thing, but it is not a guarantee. It is a gift. And if you don't use it, it becomes regret. So you must choose. Choose to burn the old excuses. Choose to bury the distractions. Choose to live like today might be your last shot to make it count. Because it might be. Because once you've made that choice to live, not just with energy, but with intention, you start to understand that life doesn't bend for the talented. It bends for the resilient. Because purpose isn't protected by perfect conditions. Purpose is proven in pressure. And if you plan to live this life wide awake, on fire, on mission, then you must become someone who can adapt. Because purpose doesn't mean comfort. It means constant recalibration. The path will twist. The timing will shift. The plan will change. But the principle must remain. I am not here to coast. I am here to climb. Adaptability isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's knowing when to bend without breaking, when to move without losing momentum, when to shift your method but never touch your mission. It's the discipline of adjusting the sails when the wind changes and still reaching the shore. And when storms come, because they will, you'll need more than vision. You'll need resilience, the kind that doesn't ask for sympathy, the kind that doesn't make excuses, the kind that says, you can test me, you can delay me, but you cannot deny me, because purpose plants roots. And when you're rooted, no storm can uproot you. You don't run when it's hard. You dig deeper. Resilience is what carries you through the silent seasons, when no one claps, when nothing's trending, when you wonder if any of this is even working. That's when most people give up. Not because they couldn't win, but because they couldn't wait. But you know, waiting isn't weakness when it's active. You don't wait in place. You wait while building, while studying, while becoming, because learning never stops when you're living with purpose. You're not here to be the smartest in the room. You're here to be the sharpest. You learn from failure. You learn from delay. You learn from the pain, the pause, the pressure. Every chapter becomes a class. Every setback becomes strategy. And eventually, you realize something powerful. You are not who you were when you started this. You are stronger, clearer, deeper. You've outgrown old fears. You've retired the old excuses. You've stopped waiting to become ready. Because now, you are the readiness. You've gone from dreamer to doer, from potential to purpose, from possibility to proof. And now the world can feel it. You don't move the same. You don't speak the same. You don't settle the same, because purpose has rewired you. You've stopped chasing applause. You've stopped borrowing your identity from approval. You've stopped asking for permission to shine. Now you lead. Now you own. Now you live in a way that makes the word potential irrelevant, because you've activated it. You don't just inspire. You impact. You don't just talk change. You are change. And the world will feel that. In your words, in your work, in your wake. Then let this be the moment everything changes. Not someday. Not when you feel more ready. Not when it's more convenient. Now, because you've seen the difference. You've felt the contrast. You know what it's like to have potential, and you've tasted what it means to live with purpose. And there is no going back. You can't unsee what you now know. You can't unfeel the fire that's been lit. You can't unknow that your life, your one and only life, was never meant to be ordinary. It was meant to shift the atmosphere, to ripple through generations, to stand as proof that someone once had the audacity to live fully. Because purpose isn't a possession. It's a path. It's a discipline. It's a declaration you make with every breath that says, I will not leave this earth full of potential. I will leave it empty. Empty of every dream I turned into reality. Every idea I executed. Every ounce of energy I poured into something meaningful. So from this moment forward, you don't just exist. You build. You burn. You become. You wake up not asking, what do I have to do? You wake up declaring, what am I called to do? And how fully can I show up for it today? You stop chasing a life of comfort and start constructing a life of contribution. You don't hoard your talent. You harvest it. You don't water down your voice. You amplify it because there are people waiting on the other side of your courage. People who need your words, your work, your vision. People who will be freed because you decided to live on purpose. And if you ever feel tired, remember, you're not tired from the work. You're tired from the weight of potential you've yet to convert into reality. Purpose doesn't drain you. It fuels you because it aligns your soul with your schedule, your gift with your grind, your fire with your focus. And when that happens, you don't just build wealth. You build worth. You build witness. You build a legacy so loud it echoes long after your voice is gone. So, ask yourself, when it's all said and done, what will they say about you? That you had potential? Or that you fulfilled it? That you played it safe? Or that you lit the world on fire with your purpose? The choice was always yours. So live like it. Burn like it. Be it. Because the greatest tragedy is not death. The greatest tragedy is dying with purpose still trapped inside you. Now go. Live with it. Breathe with it. Lead with it. Because you were never meant to die with potential. You were born to live with purpose. It doesn't matter how hard you work. If your mind is working against you, it doesn't matter how much action you take. If your thoughts are infected with fear, doubt, and scarcity, it doesn't matter how disciplined your habits are. If your identity is still tied to the old version of you, mindset is the multiplier. It's the force that takes every small step and amplifies its return, or strangles it before it ever compounds. Because action without mindset is motion without power. It's pouring effort into a container full of holes. It's running fast in the wrong direction. It's building towers on sand and wondering why they fall. But when the mind is right, when the belief is deep, when the internal narrative is anchored in strength, suddenly everything changes. Small habits become breakthroughs. 1-hour sessions become identity shifts. One idea becomes a movement. One act of courage becomes a life rebuilt from the inside out. That is the power of mindset. It's not hype. It's not positive thinking. It's not tricking yourself into feeling good. It's rebuilding the operating system of your life. Because if you don't do that first, your strategies will fail. Your vision will fade. Your discipline will feel like punishment, not purpose. You don't need more tips. You don't need more tactics. You need to get your mind clean, strong, quiet, and clear. Because you can't execute what you don't believe in. You won't chase a future you don't feel worthy of. You won't protect a goal that doesn't feel like you. Mindset isn't one category of growth. It's the foundation of all growth. Every result in your life is a delayed reflection of your internal dialogue. Not what you say out loud, but what you say in the dark, when no one's watching, when nothing's working, when every external signal says you can't. Mindset is what answers, I will. And that mindset it is built, not found. It's not gifted to the talented. It's forged by the committed. It's sculpted through repetition, through choosing strength when weakness is easier, through feeding courage, not excuses, through learning how to speak to yourself like you matter, like your future deserves better than your past, because it does, and it always has. Mindset is how you take average effort and get extraordinary return. It's how you take failure and extract fuel. It's how you take discomfort and find growth. It multiplies your focus. It magnifies your habits. It compounds your courage. Because when your mind is set, your choices are automatic. Your self-respect is high. Your momentum becomes sacred. And your tolerance for anything less than excellence disappears. Mindset is what tells you, I will finish what I start. I will build what I envision. I will outlast what tries to break me. You don't need a new life. You need a new lens. Because the life you want might already be here. You just can't see it through a broken mindset. Fix the lens. The world changes. You change. Because once your mindset is clean, belief begins to breathe. Not the belief you say when others are listening. The belief you feel in your bones when the room is empty. The kind that doesn't flinch when things go wrong. The kind that doesn't need proof to act. The kind that says, even if no one claps, I will still build. That belief is the fuel behind every world-class result. It's the invisible scaffolding of your success. It's what allows you to walk into the unknown with conviction instead of hesitation. Because belief is not about knowing it'll work. Belief is about deciding that even if it doesn't, you will. You'll adapt. You'll evolve. You'll find another way. Belief makes the impossible inevitable. Not because the path is easy, but because the person walking it is unwavering. And that belief doesn't live in isolation. It births something deeper, something rarer. Vision. Vision is not a wish list. It's not a mood board. It's not a fantasy. Vision is internal architecture. It's the future you've already seen, and now you're just reverse engineering it. It's where your clarity is born, where your focus sharpens, where your actions stop coming from pressure and start coming from identity. When your vision is real, you move different. You don't need to convince yourself to grind. You don't need to debate whether it's worth it. You don't chase dopamine. You chase alignment. And when your mindset, belief, and vision lock in together, purpose arrives, not in a loud bang, but in a steady voice that says, this is it. This is the life you were built to live. This is the lane that was etched into your DNA. This is the mission that makes the pain make sense. And when you have purpose, discipline is not hard. Discipline is home. It's not a grind. It's honor. It's not punishment. It's precision. Purpose makes the hard work feel holy. Purpose makes time sacred. Purpose makes sacrifice a gift, not a loss. Because when you're operating in purpose, you don't measure success by what you get. You measure it by what you give, by how deep you serve, by how long you stay in the fight after others fold. This is why mindset matters. Because without it, belief never wakes up. Vision stays blurry. Purpose never lands. And action becomes effort without soul. But with it you become unstoppable. Not because you're faster, not because you're smarter, but because you're aligned with yourself, aligned with your future, aligned with the truth that nothing external has power over someone whose inner world is unshakable. Because when mindset aligns with belief, vision, and purpose, a discipline becomes inevitable, not forced, not faked, inevitable. You no longer have to drag yourself into action. Because now you've become someone who doesn't need to be convinced. You've become someone who simply moves. Discipline is not the grind. It's not the hustle porn they sell you online. It's not about burning out for the badge of being busy. Discipline is the sacred rhythm of those who are clear on who they are. It is the language of people who are not available for average. It is the armor of people who don't let their feelings decide their future. And when your mindset is locked in, you stop asking, can I do it? You start declaring, this is what we do. Because now it's not about motivation. It's not about how you feel. It's about what's embedded in your identity. And identity is shaped by your daily decisions. The small, repetitive, invisible ones, the ones you think don't matter until they do, until they become the fabric of who you are. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise or fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are simply what you do without thinking. The actions you've repeated so many times that they've become part of your nature. And when your mindset is sharp, you begin to install those patterns with precision because you understand now action is the proof of belief. If you say you believe but you don't move, then you don't believe. You're still flirting with the idea. But when belief is real, action becomes non-negotiable. You get up early not because someone told you to, but because your future is calling and you refuse to send it to voicemail. You train your body not to look good in photos, but to build the mental toughness required to carry your calling. You read, you write, you reflect, you study, you repeat, not because it's trendy, but because it's true. You act not because of what it gives you, but because of who it makes you. Because every action either confirms or contradicts your identity. And when your identity is clear, when your mindset is fixed on truth, your momentum becomes explosive. Momentum is not magic. It's math. It's the result of consistent actions rooted in a solid mindset, multiplied by purpose, compounded by discipline, executed daily, especially when it's hardest. That's when momentum catches fire. That's when ordinary people become extraordinary. Not because they had more talent, but because they stacked their mindset until their identity became unbreakable. Because once identity locks in and momentum begins to build, you are no longer moved by circumstances. You are moved by standards. And when your life is built on standards instead of feelings, you become untouchable. But untouchable doesn't mean arrogant. It means anchored. It means rooted. It means no matter what the world throws at you, you are not leaving your lane. And from this place, gratitude becomes your superpower. Because now, you're not just moving fast. You're moving aware. You don't take progress for granted. You honor it. You don't just chase the next goal. You celebrate who you've already become. Gratitude is not passive. It is powerful. It grounds your fire so it doesn't burn you out. It reminds you that this exact momentous, the miracle. And gratitude doesn't slow your drive. It sharpens it. Because now, every breath is fuel. Every setback is perspective. Every morning is a privilege. Every rep is legacy. And when gratitude and discipline walk together, you become adaptable. Because you don't panic when the plan breaks. You pivot. You respond. You adjust without apology. You stop being addicted to how it's supposed to go. Because you know the vision stays, but the route can evolve. Adaptability is the maturity of the focused. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the ability to shift course without shifting identity. And that's where resilience is born. Not in the mountaintop moments, but in the middle, in the tension, in the days where nothing works, but you refuse to break. Resilience isn't loud. It doesn't post. It doesn't beg for sympathy. It builds. It gets quiet. It gets still. And it moves anyway. Resilience is the scar that says, I've been hit harder than this, and I'm still standing. You don't just survive the storm. You become steel because of it. And now, everything has changed. Because now, you're not chasing goals. You're living in a new identity. You're not hoping for transformation. You are transformation. And it all began with one truth. Mindset is the multiplier. It's the thread that wove together your beliefs, your habits, your clarity, your purpose, your systems, your momentum, your endurance, your becoming. And so now the world may see the results, But you know the real win happened long before they applauded. It happened in the quiet, in the dark, in the silence of your inner world. When you chose to master your mind before you tried to master your life. This is the truth the world forgets. The quality of your mindset determines the quality of your results. Your mindset is your amplifier. It's your filter. It's your engine. It's your compass. It's your multiplier. So protect it, train it, feed it, challenge it, build it. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. And when they ask how you did it, when they ask how you created peace in chaos, clarity in pressure, progress through pain, you'll say, I mastered the multiplier. I fixed the mind, and the life followed. There is no neutral ground. Every single day, you are either writing your story or being written into someone else's. There's no standing still. There's no middle lane. Life is happening with or without your permission. And if you don't rise up and decide who you are, where you're going, and what you're building, someone else will decide for you. The system already has a plan. It's written in deadlines that aren't yours, in goals that don't fulfill you, in rules that shrink your soul. And if you're not awakefully awake, you'll slip into it like a suit that doesn't fit and wear it like it was meant for you. But deep down, you'll know that this life doesn't feel like it's yours, that this job, this path, this rhythm, it's scripted. It's safe. It's survivable, but it is not yours. And if you don't break that cycle, it will bury your potential, not in one blow, but in tiny, comfortable compromises. The meetings you didn't say no to, the dreams you kept putting off, the calendar you filled with everything but your own soul's work. And then one day you look up and wonder, how did I get here? The answer, you didn't choose. You drifted. Because drifting is easy. It's rewarded. It looks responsible, but it's just dressed up delay. And let me tell you something, most people won't. If you don't wake up every single day with a plan for your life, you will be pulled into someone else's. And here's what they have planned for you. Not much. Maybe a role, maybe a number, maybe a salary, but not your legacy, not your destiny, not your truth. Because those things must be built deliberately, brick by brick, with sweat, with silence, with intention. No one will hand you your dream life in a meeting. You won't find it on a job board. You won't be promoted into your purpose. You have to plan it, design it, define it so clearly that the world can no longer offer you anything that doesn't match it. That starts in the mind. You need a mindset that is not reactive, but sovereign. A mindset that doesn't check the temperature of the day before deciding to show up. A mindset that no longer takes orders from fear or trends or other people's expectations. Because mindset is where all movement begins. You don't get clarity from waiting. You get clarity from choosing to lead. And when your mindset shifts, so does everything else. You begin to see that belief is not a luxury. It's a requirement. You must believe in your own authority to craft your life. You must believe that your ideas have weight, that your preferences matter, that your vision is not just valid, it's non-negotiable. Without that belief, you'll keep handing over the pen to bosses, to partners, to algorithms, to people who have no idea what you were born to do, but are more than happy to write your role into their plot. Belief is what makes you impossible to manipulate. When you know who you are, you become dangerous to systems built on conformity. And from belief flows clarity, real clarity. Not just what you want to do, but who you want to become. Because when you get clear on your identity, you stop trying to fit in where you were never meant to stay. You stop asking, how do I make this work? And start asking, what is this costing me? Clarity exposes the compromises. It reveals the hours spent building someone else's dream while yours sits untouched. It reveals the meetings that drain you, the people who don't get you, the goals that aren't yours. And from clarity comes vision. not a wish list, not a Pinterest board, but a vivid, defined, gut-level knowing of what your life must become. So strong you can feel it in your bones. So loud it drowns out the noise. Vision that says, this is where I'm going. And anything that doesn't align, it's gone. That kind of vision makes you magnetic. It makes you immovable. It makes you inevitable. But it only becomes real when you pair it with discipline. Discipline is the structure that holds the dream in place. Without it, your vision is just fantasy. With it, your vision becomes inevitable. Discipline says, I choose me, even when no one claps, even when no one sees, even when it's hard and quiet and slow. Discipline says, my goals are not negotiable. My standards are not suggestions. And my dream does not exist to fit someone else's timeline. You show up not because it's easy, but because it's yours. And when you combine belief, clarity, vision, and discipline, you reclaim something sacred, your time, because time is the most valuable thing you own. And every second you don't spend building your dream is a second spent building someone else's. And when you understand the value of time, truly feel it deep in your bones, you begin to treat your life like what it is, non-refundable. You stop giving your best hours to meaningless meetings. You stop saying yes to plans that don't serve your mission. You stop living on someone else's schedule and start honoring your divine urgency, because life doesn't wait and legacy doesn't build itself. You begin to move with gratitude, not the soft, casual kind, but the kind that says, every hour I get is a privilege. Every breath is a resource, and I refuse to waste them living someone else's dream. Gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that you're already equipped, that you're not starting from nothing. You're starting from enough. And from that rooted place, you become adaptable, because life will test your plans. It will throw punches. It will shift timelines. But if your character is intact, if your clarity is real, you won't break. You'll adjust. You'll bend without folding. You'll pivot without panicking, because your mission isn't attached to method. Your purpose isn't bound to comfort. You're not here to be flexible in your standards, only flexible in your strategy. That's real resilience, not bouncing back, but bouncing forward, transforming setbacks into stepping stones, using failure as a forge, not a finish line. And every time you rise again, you become stronger, smarter, sharper, wiser, because you're learning, not just about the world, but about yourself. Learning that you don't need all the answers. You just need the conviction to keep asking better questions. Learning that feedback isn't failure. It's refinement. It's clarity. It's the raw material of growth. And with every lesson, you get more dangerous, more aligned, more unstoppable, because now you are living on purpose, not reacting architecting, not waiting waking, not hoping building. And the people around you will feel it. Your standards will speak before you do. Your energy will shift rooms. Your consistency will earn you access. Your vision will inspire others to ask themselves, whose plan am I living? Because once you've tasted a life that's truly yours, you can never go back. You become allergic to small talk, to shallow goals, to environments that dilute you. You protect your time like treasure. You protect your mind like a fortress. You protect your soul like it's the blueprint of something eternal. And now, you don't just have a plan, you are the plan. You walk like it. You speak like it. You live like it. With intention, with precision, with fire. Because if you don't plan your life, someone else will use you in theirs. And now, you're done being used. You're done being driftwood. You're done being a background character in someone else's story. You are the author. You are the leader. You are the architect. And from this moment forward, you live like it. Then hear this, not as advice, but as a call to arms, because your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This is the show, and the curtain is already rising. No more postponing your greatness. No more editing your dreams to fit someone else's comfort. No more sleepwalking through a life that doesn't belong to you. You don't need more time. You don't need more approval. You don't need more signs. You just need one thing, ownership. The quiet, relentless, powerful decision to say, this life is mine. Every hour, every choice, every breath, mine. And because it's mine, I will no longer give away my calendar, my confidence, or my calling to people who didn't earn it. I will no longer confuse distraction with duty. I will no longer mistake busy for a line. I will no longer chase what looks good and abandon what feels right. From this moment forward, I rise on purpose. I move with intent. I walk like the architect of something that outlives me. I write my days in ink, not pencil. I protect my peace like an empire. And I guard my dream like it already changed the world. Because the truth is brutal but simple. If you don't plan your life, someone else will use you in theirs. And when that happens, you don't just lose time, you lose yourself. But not anymore. Not you. Not now. You are done renting your life out by the hour. You are done living from the outside in. You are done mistaking existence for impact. Now, you live like a blueprint in motion, a plan in human form, a purpose with a pulse. And when they ask, who gave you permission to live this boldly? You'll answer without flinching, I did, because I stopped living inside their story and started writing my own. Now go, write it, live it, be it. Because once you step into that authority, once you stop waiting for life to choose you and you start choosing yourself, you awaken a force inside you that nothing outside of you can stop. You no longer respond to pressure. You create it. You no longer fit into plans. You command the blueprint. You no longer ask, what if I fail? Instead, you declare, what if I don't show up and the world misses what only I could bring? Because this isn't just about your goals. This is about your impact. This is about every person your courage will unlock. Every generation your discipline will influence. Every room your alignment will shift. You are not just living your life. You are leading by example. And every time you say yes to your own plan, you give silent permission for others to rise. So live bold, live, structured, live tuned to your highest frequency. Not someday, but now. Not when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. Not when it's safe, but especially when it feels uncertain. That's how you claim your freedom. That's how you leave a mark. That's how you rise from average to aligned, from passive to powerful, from surviving to sovereign. And if anyone asks how you built all this, how you created a life that reflects your deepest truth, you'll look them in the eye and say, I planned it relentlessly, religiously, because no one was ever going to hand it to me. So I stopped waiting. I designed it. I protected it. And I never let the world write my story again. And that is how legacies are born. Not by chance, but by choice. By people who had the audacity to plan their own lives when everyone else was handing theirs away.